It's the power of we is always greater than me. So it's the two or more. As the two or more comes up. And it's almost like we enter into a new agreement with each other, that the two or three of us say, you know what, let's not worry about trying to change people here. But if one or two of us add an agreement that there's going to be times when we're taking this walk together where we're going to get red, we're going to fall into it, and in those moments I'm going to give you permission to check in with me, to just ask me how I'm doing. Now, if I'm going to have a bad day, I'm going to be fragile. So, give me the benefit of the doubt. I mean, we're all going to have a bad day. But when it starts looking plural, please check in. And when I'm there, and it takes a hell of a lot of courage to do that. I think it does. I think it takes courage to choose a higher way of being. This ride that I'm taking you on, it's not for sissies. It takes extraordinary courage. And I'm not talking about Rambo courage. I'm talking about the courage that says, I'm scared, but I have a willingness to not allow fear to have its way with me this time. Right? I mean, depending on how new you are, I think having a conversation with a client in your chair about retail takes courage. Now, those of you that have it figured out and you're skillful in your kung fu, like, I get that. There's a heck of a lot of people here, they start talking about this when clients are in their chair. And I'm scared. And I'm letting you know, it's okay, it's normal, it's human. But when you can have somebody around you that says, I will loan you some of my courage when you temporarily lose yours until you get yours back, because you always do. And then when I'm fragile, you'll return the courtesy. Loan me a little bit of yours until I get mine back, because it's like temporarily gone, but it always does. I think it takes courage to have a conversation with a new client in your chair, and before they leave, you ask them if they would like to pre-book with you to come back on the first visit. Many of us, that's so scary. It's like, okay, if they come back a second time, they probably like me enough. Like I'm going to ask them to pre-book. But it takes extraordinary courage to ask a client, new client, would you like to, I'd love to see you no later than maybe the first week in March. What day in that week is good for you? Oh my, that takes courage. And again, encouragement is, I'll loan you a little bit of mine till you get yours back, because you do. I think it takes courage to ask a client for a referral. I think it takes courage to have a conversation with a client that's down for a shampoo, cut, and blow dry to put a few foils around their fringe. I think that takes courage. I think it takes courage to raise your price when the indicators tell you that you can. And there's many, many, many moments our courage vanishes on us. We lose our courage on a daily basis. At least I do. You just need to know. Like, this weekend has been excruciatingly extraordinary for me. Symposium weekend is excruciatingly wonderful for educators, because it's terror. You wake up in the middle of Sunday night terrified. I've got to play an audience of a few hundred people, and if I screw up, Redkin's going to annihilate me. And there's a couple, there's a couple of my buddies, we would hook up at 6 in the morning and just say, it's going to be okay. I'll loan you some of mine, you loan me. We're going to get through this thing, and no matter what happens, no matter what, we're going to be okay. That's a cool relationship to have. And you need more of those. And when it becomes part of the culture, where all of a sudden you got a few people around. And by the way, we call these people that loan you courage encouragers. And you'll hear people say, in a culture of encouragement, where the community of people are encouragers, they'll say, I really love working here. This has become my second family. For some of us, it's, are you kidding? This is the damn family I never had. And my confession to you, it would be, I didn't come from a loving family. It's as you look up the word dysfunction in the dictionary, there it is. You shake my family tree hard, you got neurotics and elkies falling all over the damn place. And in some cultures, and you'll see it in salons, you don't see encouragement. You see the antonym. You see discouragement. And I'm not naive. I mean, getting stoked at Redkin Symposium is like if you can't get inspired here, you need to leave. You're going to be going home here in an hour or so to a culture of perhaps people that really should have been here, but for whatever reasons didn't take the ride. And they're kind of sort of in the same shape they were when you left. And you're going to come back, and tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, they're going to be there. And don't be surprised if you're on the receiving end of what you always are on the receiving, and that's called discouragement. By the way, it doesn't make them bad people. Say, what's it make them? Unconscious. And you're going to hear it. You're going to come in, and all of a sudden you're stoked, and you're doing all these new acts, and they're going, oh, look at you. Look at you. What did you drink? The Kool-Aid? Pump motivational sunshine right up your asset, I'll tell you. Motivated you to sell all that product. Look at you. Just know that show me someone that's got a pattern of discouragement stuck in red, and I'll show you a human being that's infected with envy. And envy is one of the 7 deadly sins. Envy says, I see you going after something extraordinary, and I would love to go after and get what I see you going after and get, but I don't have the courage. But I don't want you to get it either. Because it's something about seeing you get it that causes me to feel worse about myself than I've been feeling. And frankly, I'm feeling so bad right now, I'm dying. See, when you leave here in a half hour or so, when you can go home with that, I call it the eyes to see. The eyes to what? See. It gives you a sense of compassion. It's not that you agree with that way of being, but you can be in it without being of it. Well, but Michael, you don't understand where I work. Where I work, I'm telling you, these people are crazy. They're animals. They take no hostages. They eat their young. What are you supposed to do when you have people just, they're just so negative? Well, for sure, you don't want to be arguing with them. Don't argue with them. Say, why? You can't out-argue crazy. You just can't. And I know it takes one to know one. When I'm in red and I don't know it, I'm crazy. And you're going to try to talk me out of it, I can't even see your lips move. So leave it alone. Well, what should I do? Well, if you can, just leave. Find another environment. And if that's not possible, then just listen without disagreeing or agreeing. To just listen. And just stay in that place. Just stay still. Well, what if they say, well, how come you're not talking to me? How come you're not saying anything? Just be honest, be transparent. I could see you're really upset. This has really got you disturbed, and I figured I'd just give you a chance to sound off. Now watch the setup, though. Sometimes somebody's going to say to you, am I right? See, that's someone that's looking for an agreement. And you don't want to be agreeing with crazy, because if you agree with crazy, all you're going to do is enable it. You're going to expand it. You can get more of it. You don't agree, you don't disagree. I would say something like, I hear you. Your point's well made. Or how about this? Oh. Right. And what will probably happen sooner or later is the person's going to begin waking up and seeing that there's this thing called their part, and they're going to start seeing that, or not, they'll leave and they'll go find somebody else to come into agreement, because that's what we're looking for.